Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Air2Ground Farms Monday Night Live.
Hey y'all.
Grab a cup of coffee, get some kombucha. Tonight, we are going to discuss some piglets, our planning, and how we're training our piglets to work for us in the forests.
First, we're going to do a little bit of a garden update. We'll do an update on the heifer that we talked to you about, where we had to pull her calf, and then the piglet chat.
The piglet chat. Yeah, it was a muddy couple of days for a couple of guys.
Oh man, wow,
Yeah.
wasn't it? We're sitting in our podcast studio in our podcast location. We were all set today to record a podcast with Rebecca Tickell. If you're not familiar with Rebecca, she is one of the co-director, I guess, co-producer of the docuseries or documentary Kiss the Ground, and then Common Ground and upcoming Groundswell.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all set up to record with her, and about, I don't know, an hour before it was supposed to start, we got an email saying that she was sick, and so we rescheduled for next week.
Yeah, and so there I was, I gotta get ready, y'all. I gotta do my thing. And so I'd done that, and then there was nothing. So we kind of scrambled and put together one that will come out in a couple of weeks. But at any rate, we were sitting in here, everything was set up, and we're like, let's not move equipment. Let's just do it in here and see how it goes. So I have a question. How does this sound on your end using the podcast microphones and setup? Just let us know so that we can know that if it's good, we'll keep going, and we'll do.
Yeah.
We may use more if the quality is better.
All right, we have a hey from Emmy. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. And we have a hello from Minnesota. Scott, hello to you. Emmy says, sounds great.
Awesome.
Beth says, sounds pretty good. Living Traditions Homestead in the house. Sounds
Hey, y'all.
great so far. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
y'all. Good to be hanging out with you. So
Awesome.
the Kiss the Ground, we're really excited to talk to Rebecca because that actually had an impact on our life, that documentary. We had recently watched Sacred Cow, and that one is a documentary about the beef industry and how beef is nutritious, and if raised correctly, it can actually help the environment. And like it was a completely different take on things than what you normally hear Sacred Cow was. And we're like, look at that. And that was when Shelley said, I want to do that.
Yeah. But amongst that, I'm a little bit of documentary junkie at that point in my life. And that sent us on a path down the rabbit hole of learning about this type of way of growing food and whatnot. And we ran across the documentary. It was released in 2020 called Kiss the Ground. And when we watched it, it was very eye-opening in a lot of ways. And it resonated with us.
And that really was the moment.
About food, though, not necessarily like the climate aspect of it. Okay, I want a healthy planet for sure.
Yeah.
But really, it resonated for us because of the food.
Yeah, and really what that solidified for us, we want to farm, we want to do a regenerative farm, and we want it to be the proteins. Like we want to grow meat in a really good way.
Yeah, that and then off we go and we learn about Joel Salatin and Greg Judy and all of the other
Gabe Brown,
Brown,
and Will Harris, but
Yeah,
like it all
pioneers
started.
in this type of farming.
It all started with Rebecca Tickell
Yeah.
and Kiss the Ground. So a long way to say we're really excited about having her on the
Yeah.
podcast, and looking forward to next week. Tomorrow, actually, we get to do a podcast with a lady named Carolyn Haler, and she founded a company called Mighty Licious. And what they do there is a trying to make a gluten-free line of products that doesn't taste like cardboard.
So we don't typically eat, store-bought cookies or sugar, really, for that matter. But we tried them last night. She sent some to us so that we could try them, and they were good. Yeah. There was no gluten, completely gluten-free, organic products used in it. Everything was organic, and they were quite tasty.
So I'm looking forward to having her on the podcast. Like, she's doing something that's like almost opposite of us. I think she normally has a vegetarian take,
vegan
a little
take,
bit, and is all about the gluten-free stuff. But she had celiac, and it helped.
Heal her gut.
It helps heal her gut. So we're very interested to talk to her about producing good food. I think there is common ground there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We
see what I did there? Common ground.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, you're cute. Good job. Oh, so last week we told you guys about the Heifer and her horrible calving experience, I think. Was that last week?
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy. Gosh. Time on a farm moves differently. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It does. I don't know. It's fast. It's just really fast. Week. And so we shared with you that, we had to pull the calf. It was very, very large. We had to get the winch involved to get it out of her. And we weren't sure how it was going to go with her. We did end up giving her some antibiotics and the medicine to expel her placenta because there was still some remaining in her. So we gave her that medication, and it appears that has now expelled, but she still isn't great. I mean,
I'm going to toss up a couple pictures so you guys can see her. This is Bumblebee, and she's not doing good.
No, but she's still alive. I got to be honest, for the first couple of days after we got home from our trip and we gave her the medicine, the next day, I honestly expected to walk out there and find her, dead. But she's not. She's still hanging on. She appears something happened in the whole deal, and I'm not sure if all of the pressure, because we were having to pull so hard and her head was in the head gate. And I'm not sure what happened, but it appears that maybe she hemorrhaged or something, because in her eye, one of her eyes, she's not seeing very well. It has gone blue. I don't know if she'll get the sight back.
And we're not sure.
See something.
Yeah, we're not sure if it was from that or did she get an infection? Like, we don't.
Yeah, because
we don't know.
We did give her antibiotics, but she was already kind of down, and so if the bacteria if she became septic, and really got in her system, then that could cause the confusion she was having and her eyes not working properly.
Yeah.
But she is getting around. She's kind of secluded from the herd, but she does go and check in with them every now and then. She can get water. She's eating
and drinking and visiting the salt lick and visiting the mineral.
Now, we'll have decisions to make. We did give her antibiotics, so we can't process her for beef right now. We have to wait at least 28 days for the withdrawal period to happen.
Yeah.
If she remains blind and can't see and get around, we will have to call her. We would hope that we could get something out of her. That's not what we want. We're trying to make the best decisions we can as farmers and as meat producers.
Yeah.
So if we can get her over the acute phase of whatever is wrong, get some weight back on her, and get her healthy, then yes. Put that question up there. Is it possible, Angel's Homestead, is it possible she's depressed? Yes, I think so.
That she is, actually.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things that we said was we believe she's depressed, and she will go and hang out with the herd for a minute, and then she goes and lays down in the woods. And so I think that actually, yes, I think she is depressed.
So there's that, and she'll get over it eventually. But the fact that she's still alive gives me hope that, she can get better. Joel Salatin speaks of a time when he had a cow down and she was down and she wasn't getting up and moving. And the vet said, or maybe it was an old time farmer, told him 30 days.
Yeah.
Because he was like, how long am I going to take food and water to this cow? And he said, give her 30 days. If she's not up in 30 days, then she's not going to get up. So day 30, they had gone to church and they came back.
He was planning on putting her down.
He was about to put her down. And he came back on day 30 she was standing up. And so, we'll give her a chance. We're always going to give her a chance to get well.
Yeah. Kevin and Sarah says they definitely go through a grieving process when they lose a calf.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think she doesn't feel good. She can't see great. She's blind in one eye, can't see out of the other, and she lost her calf. So she's just got a multitude of things going wrong, but she is still with us.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll keep staying strong,
So we got quite a few that the sound is amazing.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Some excitement that Living Traditions is in the house. And hey, Kevin and Sarah, miss you guys from Beth.
Kevin and Sarah have been doing a lot of fishing.
Homestead Jude says, sound is good. Hello from West Virginia. Hello. Phil from Washburn, Missouri says, hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. So there's some comments on the brighter side. Like,
yeah,
we're sharing with you guys the reality of farming, or having animals or whatever it is. Like sometimes it happens and you do the absolute best you can. Here's a on the brighter side. Here is Michaela, and this was our first real harvest from the garden this season, and we were able to pick a mess of jalapenos and a couple of onions and
some cucumbers. She likes the little, I don't know, snack size cucumbers. So they planted some of those. We picked about 5 or 6 of those. I think they were consumed in the garden.
Yeah.
We should take salt out there.
Kevin.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got some basil. So I got some tomatoes that we canned last year, and she chopped up the jalapenos and a couple of onions that were out there and added some garlic, and we've got them on the stove making some good salsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first garden haul.
Yeah. Getting it actually taken care of too. But now the harvests are going to get to the point where we won't be able to do that. We'll have to start tending to it in other ways. But this was fun. She did a great job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the garden is doing really well. Some of the tomato plants have a rust, and we were able to, we pulled those branches off today and sort of got everything up off of the ground. Mm. The peppers are growing like crazy. Okra's starting to put on little okras. Mm-hmm. It's growing. It's looking good. Yeah. We're getting a lot of rain this season still. And man, we were in a drought already last year this time.
Oh, we couldn't be happier with the weather right now.
Yeah, it is. It's still raining a lot.
Yeah.
And
we got quite a bit even today.
Yeah. It's amazing. The grass, y'all, is doing awesome. This whole regenerative agriculture thing, rotating ruminant animals through the pastures, put the chicken, meat birds out there on the pastures. The comment that we made today was, I never thought we would have grass this thick and green.
On this property.
Because we've just got rocky Ozarks soil with scrubby stuff was growing when we first got here. And
there's this lush green grass growing now. And what's underneath it is a little bit of dirt and a bunch of rocks. So it's really, truly amazing that we have that kind of grass growing.
Well, and every year we're making more soil. So every year it's going to get better.
So the way we make really more soil is by, in one spot, we unrolled probably 100 round bales of hay in one really intensive spot. So we had the sheep and the cows on there for about 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me, in one place. And so peeing and pooping and stomping, and every time you unroll that hay, it just throws the seeds, and then they pee and poop on it, and then we got rain,
Yeah.
and it's
And it's
just
still raining.
exploding.
And the grass is, especially in that area,
great.
it is just exploding new grass. It is
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. So anyway, what was our train of thought? What was I saying? We was talking about the grass. Oh, on the broader side.
Yeah.
We've been getting rain. Oh, okay.
We did the garden update, and
Oh,
then
okay.
just I moved on. The garden update made me think that I haven't really been having to water. It's been raining.
That's true. Yeah. It's been
then-
watering everything.
And the grass. And
Yeah. Well, it's a good pasture update. Pastures are good, y'all.
yeah.
They really are. Makes us smile to see more than the cows can eat, really.
Yeah.
It's just being right.
It's
Perfect.
It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Piglets. Piglets?
Yeah. So we'll start, like, that's where
Yeah,
we
it
want to
was
do
muddy.
it. We want to do a bit of a deep dive this week is in the Farrowing
Yeah.
side of the house of our pig operation.
So a lot of you probably know that we didn't want to farrow, but we wound up getting breeders, and now we are farrowing piglets because the guy we were getting our feeders from decided to get out of it, and we wanted to continue in that line, so we purchased those breeders, and so we do have piglets.
We have a boar hog named Tex. He's very big. We raise pure registered Berkshires. We haven't been registering the piglets because we don't really care that they're just for meat, but that is the line.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a boar and 5 sows, and we have farrowed twice now. And this week we called an official end to the spring 2025 farrow.
Yeah, it was good. It was not nearly as I don't know, traumatic or eventful as last time because we had done it, and it was in relatively good weather. We didn't have any issues. The one thing that did happen was all of the sows had them within about 36 hours.
Yeah,
Everybody had all the piglets at
sows
once.
had piglets on one day, and the 5th sow had piglets like 2 days after
So
that.
all of them on the ground, all at one time. That was interesting.
That meant that Tex was really busy.
Yes, he was. So 50 piglets.
But think about that. That's a lot of energy. If you've ever watched large hogs reproducing, that is a lot of energy required.
He's got stamina.
He's a good boar hog.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he made 50 babies.
I'm just wanting to take a moment to recognize.
We recognize. Tex, we recognize you.
Here's to you, Tex.
So we made 50 piglets. We wound up, at the end of the day, I think we wound up with right about 40 total.
So yeah, that's one of the things we want to talk about, and I think one of our talking points is how do we want to?
Go ahead.
So let me show you this.
You do you.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Let me show you this. This is the industrial style of farrowing pigs. The sows are in these crates, and they are able to lay down, and they are milk factories for piglets. And because they can't really get up, they never lay on their piglets. And it's something that is really common because the moms are, 500 pounds and the piglets are like 1 or 2 pounds.
Yeah, they're tiny.
They're these tiny little things, and in nature, they get laid on. Like you lose piglets. So, like one of the first decisions we had to make once we decided we're going to farrow here on the farm was, how are we going to do it? Like, are we going to build the crates and all of the stuff? Like, do you build a barn? Do you make it so that you can put that type of equipment in so that you're basically guaranteed that the moms aren't going to lay on the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a hard no for us.
No way. Mm-mm. Nope. So we wound up going with the method of letting the mamas have them in the wild, basically, in nature where pigs belong, on the dirt.
So this is more like what it looks like here on our farm, and the moms are just with the piglets. And you can see the size difference here between, I mean, those moms are big,
Yeah.
and those piglets are small. And so what ends up happening, and it just does, is what Shell mentioned. We had 50, and we took 38 to the feeder stage. So we lost 12. And probably, I don't know, 8 of those were laid on by one of the moms. Okay. One of them was a runt and never really did well at all until it died. And then like there was 1 or 2 that the piglets themselves laid on, but you end up losing some at least to the moms laying on them. And we decided that was okay for us. And we had a number, like we knew going into this, we need the moms to produce at least 20 piglets a year for us to pay for their own feed. If we can do 20 piglets a year, then that's a break-even point for the farm. And anything above that, we're ahead. And anything lower than that, we need to look real hard and maybe stop the farrowing operation and start buying feeder piglets again.
The problem with that is the reliability on being able to find feeder piglets of the quality that we were looking for.
Right.
That's why we got into this, was because we're not looking to make money necessarily on the feeder piglets. We are wanting to produce pork. And we wanted a sustainable way, meaning we need a mama and a daddy in order to be able to make them. So that's why that's the break even is okay.
Yeah, exactly. So Angel's Homestead says, how many times a year are you breeding the pigs? That was another decision that we had to make, was when are we breeding them? How often are we breeding them? You can push the sows and you can get 3 farrowings a year. And we decided not to do that. We learned our first winter with sheep that we do not have, nor do we want to have, the facilities that it takes to have smaller animals in the winter.
No.
So with the hogs, the pigs, what we decided to do was we will do a spring farrowing and a fall farrowing, and between then we'll let the sows rest. So we are breeding them so that they have piglets twice a year.
Yep. And some of the times it is kind of cold, and our method of keeping them warm, because they're out in the woods, is with very large round hay bales. And we just put them out there on end. And then the moms and the babies, they create a nest all around them. And that works. It works great. And they love it. I mean,
yeah, that's a great way to tell when the moms are about to farrow.
They start nesting.
They start making a nest. And it's really interesting. It does look like a huge bird's nest.
It does.
With the mom in the middle, and she sort of packs the hay all around. And we think that it worked. This time, like the fall, we lost quite a few piglets, but like it was crazy things. Like it flooded the night that one of the moms had them, and we lost every one of those piglets.
Well, she didn't have very many. She was a first-time gilt. Yeah. And she didn't have a whole lot of them. We give everybody a first-time freebie.
Yeah.
The next time she had like 12. I mean, she had a bunch. But that time she didn't have very many, but we had 15 inches of rain that night. It was terrible. I mean,
and
it
was cold rain.
It was cold rain, and sometimes things,
And when that happens, that's we don't have a barn.
Yeah.
They're not in a barn, and there's really nothing else you can do with 15 inches of cold rain in the when they're in the forest. Like you just
The day before would have been fine. 2 days the day after
Yeah.
would have been fine. But
Yeah.
at that moment, that was a very terrible time.
Yeah.
So.
But so this spring, the farrowing, we ended up with 50 piglets, 38 we took through, and for us, I think that was quite
It was good.
quite a success.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally a success. And they're so stinking cute.
Yeah.
They
So
really are.
I think that covers why we farrow in the woods.
Because it's where pigs belong.
Yeah, it's
Really?
natural. It's
Yeah.
where they belong. They're happy.
Yeah. So one of the things whenever we would get feeder pigs was when we bring them onto the property, we have to train them to hotwire because that's how we move them around the property is with electric wire. Because they're not just in one place the whole time that they're growing out. And we have to put them in a pen and run hot wire on the bottom of it and train them to what it is. This time we didn't have to do that,
No.
though, because they were out there with their moms, and we put 2 wires around the moms and the babies to keep the babies in, and it worked. And so
Yeah,
they're hot wire trained.
Last fall, we had the hot wire raised high for the moms, and we didn't put one down low for the piglets. So we just had this roving motorcycle gang of piglets running all around
And that
the
was
woods.
a little bit of me because I thought that level of electricity on a little 2-pound pig was like, that's a lot. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt them, but they're pigs and they're quite tough. And I was
This
worrying
time-
about something I
this
didn't
time to
need
keep the roving motorcycle gang contained, we put a bottom wire on at piglet height, and the side benefit of that was they're now hot wire trained.
Yeah.
And we did end up selling quite a few of them as feeders, and everybody that we sold them to were planning on putting them in hot wire and were very pleasantly surprised and excited that they were already trained to hot wire.
Yeah. But you know what they weren't trained to? Like going in a cage.
No. No,
So
they weren't trained to go in a cage.
So yes, they're hot wire trained because they're out in the pasture or in the forest. But now there's a problem of we have to collect them all and get them sold and moved and
even to castrate them.
Even to castrate them, we got to catch them, and you can't catch a piglet.
Not out in the woods.
No, and so we had to wait until they were eating food with their moms and get old enough. And once they were old enough and eating, then we started baiting them into like the hot wire. See them all eating? That's what like 50 piglets looks like in a 16 by 16 area.
So we used
so that we could catch them.
hog panels, and this is a series of 3 16 by 16 pins. This is the middle one, and we made the gate to this. I made it so that the piglets could get in, but the moms can't. And so it gave them, and we put a water barrel in there for them so they have access to their own water, and we would put their GMO-free ration down, and they learned very quickly that they could get in and eat without the mamas tossing them around. And so it took a couple of weeks to train them, and by the time they were, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks old, we were able to get all of them in. And then somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks old, what I did is I have a gate up that the piglets go under and the moms can't get under. And then I have a second gate that swings closed all the way to the ground. And I can close that second gate then and trap the piglets in. And then now we have everybody in. And the day that we castrated, we got, I think, about 26 of them in the first time, and then we were able to get all of the rest of them in the second time. So in 2 batches on one day, we were able to get everybody through and get everybody castrated. And we just marked them with some paint so that we would know who was castrated and who wasn't.
So when it came time to catch them yesterday, they baited up very nicely and just shut the door. But the problem was, due to use, and rain, that particular area got a little muddy.
It was a lot muddy.
It was a lot muddy. And around here, we don't call it mud. The adult children call it moop. Because it's mud, but mostly poop. I mean, you don't know it's not all mud.
I can tell you the mud smells like poop.
Yeah. So it got muddy, and it was time to move them. And Huck, man, bless his heart, he got in there and caught those piglets by hand. And piglets in mud are very, very slippery.
Wow, are they slick?
Wow. But he was able to catch all of them, and we put them in the crates and moved them to ground that was not muddy.
Well, first we caught a bunch of them to sell.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was a couple of days ago. We brought our livestock trailer down, and we caught, we had some that we needed to get out on early Saturday afternoon. So we caught those Friday afternoon, got them in the trailer. We put, what was that, 10, 15 of them in the trailer, and we sold them Saturday afternoon. And then after those left, we went back down and put 6 more on the trailer and sold 2 of them, two of them Saturday evening. Those were sold as intact boars that are going to go other places and
make babies.
And then on Sunday, we sold the last 4. So we were able to sell 21 of the feeders.
Yeah.
Which
is awesome. Because we never wanted to feed 50 or 40 piglets, ever. We just want to be able to choose what we want. We want to have the volume that we want to grow for Air2Ground meats.
Yeah.
So we sold those. That was cool.
So a couple of comments from Cynthia. Love you guys. Thank you. From Emmy, good looking hogs. We think so. And with some of the guys that we sold them to, one of the things we were talking about is they don't look like show hogs. The show hogs, they're wanting them to be sort of squatty and round, and their face shape,
real tight stomachs.
Real tight stomachs. And we're making meat, so we're wanting long bodies. So you get a long slab of belly for your bacon. So like we do think
intermuscular marble.
Yeah, we do think they look
delicious.
Good. Emmy says, we used to raise pigs and my parents would do the castrating. I'm curious to know if your process is the same. I did the castrating. Yeah. Huck and my dad and I went down, and I had all of the tools, and we had a contraption that the ones that were, I don't know, maybe 25 pounds, you can hook their feet in this contraption, and I was able to then do that by myself. And then the ones that were more than about 25 pounds, we, Dad and Huck would hold them, and then I did the castrating on them. And we use a banding method for the cows and the sheep. An elastrator, I think, is the technical term. But we band the young bull calves and the young ram lambs. The young boar hogs, you can't do that to, those little piglets. So we cut and castrate them surgically, basically. And I used a betadine and scalpel and blue coat, and took care of them that way. Let's see. Jeannie Kinlan says, hey everybody, watching from Nebraska. I used to work on a pig farm. Wouldn't you be very helpful?
Right.
There were some times we had some questions, and we're like, we need somebody that used to work on a pig farm.
We just keep learning.
Yeah, exactly. Cynthia says, your commitment is amazing. Thank you for caring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our governor from Nebraska has a pig farm operation. I think I knew that. I think I've watched him.
Oh, I may have known that too.
I think I've watched him
see
on
something
something.
on the YouTube.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was watching though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we have Carol saying, hello from Pennsylvania. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and encouragement. I live in a strict HOA, Homeowners Association, so I found a local farm where I can buy homegrown chickens, etc. Keep up
awesome.
the great work. Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're always saying, find a local farmer.
Find a local farmer.
Find a local farmer.
And if you can't, air2groundmeats.com.
That's true.
Yep, same process. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was how we caught them to castrate them, how we caught them to move them either to be sold or into the woods. And then what we did yesterday was we went and made them a new paddock. So our remaining 17 piglets that we're going to grow out then as feeders, they needed a place to go.
Yeah, because it got muddy and we're trying to wean. And I'm like, we got to do this like today. We have to get them out. I can't take it. So we got to go do some work. And where we have our breeders in the woods, we have a number of acres, maybe in the neighborhood of 25 or 30 acres of woods that is on relatively level land for here in the Ozarks. And we have kept talking about where we're going to put them, where we're going to put them. We don't want to put them where our other feeders have been. That land needs to rest. So we need to head in a different direction. So we went back there and ticks and chiggers and all and spider webs and everything and went and started looking through the woods and found a location that we thought would be great for them. And then we had to create access. So we had to take chainsaws and the weed eaters and the mini chainsaws and all that and start whittling our way back into the woods. And that's always fun because we have some land, but it isn't all being used.
We're going to talk about that next week.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So this can be just a little prequel, but we're not going to do a deep dive
because we're going to. I'm just saying what we did yesterday.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, not a deep dive to say we were whittling back into the woods.
Okay.
We were back there like lumberjacks and such.
Yeah, we were. We got to go through a couple of comments. Phil, this one is. Oh, there's a story here. So Phil says, do you save the Rocky Mountain oysters? Well, at least where we're from down in South Florida, we consider the Rocky Mountain oysters to be calf testicles. And so while we were castrating the pigs, it was a discussion of, well, if calf testicles are Rocky Mountain oysters, what are the pig testicles? And Buck says, oh, they're Ozark Mountain oysters.
That's cute. I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
That's
so we did actually save the Ozark Mountain oysters, but we fed them to the chickens.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't eat those.
No, the chickens thought that they were amazing though.
Did they?
Oh yeah,
I bet.
Oh, you should have seen all of those hens. There were
because there's like the like a worm.
Well, yeah, there's the tube that's connected to the testicle. Yeah. So, and I tossed in probably 50 testicles.
Oh yeah.
And so there were like 50 different chickens running around, and then the other 80 of them were chasing the 50 that had one.
Oh, how fun!
And it was great chicken fun. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great chicken fun. So the chickens had the Ozark Mountain oysters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Another comment, Angel's Homestead says, do you have oak trees? I heard pigs love acorns. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of oak trees.
Yeah.
And they are under oak trees.
Yes.
And like last fall in our feeder area, man, it was a heavy acorn year. And the pigs actually cut down on what they were eating. Like we reduced their feed probably by half when the acorns were falling.
They do. They love them.
Yeah.
And it's great calories for them.
Right.
It's really good.
And we have hickory nuts and
walnuts.
The black walnuts fall. And the pigs have to be a little bigger. They need to be about 200 pounds plus.
Yeah.
But once they get up to be about that size, they're able to eat the black walnuts. And so you'll go down there and it's just like
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's worse than a dog with a bone. They crunch, and they're able to break those hard shells of those black walnuts and eat the black walnuts.
So they do. They forage. Oh my goodness! Everything that's on the ground. They forage.
Homestead Jude says, "Do you feed your pigs dairy extras?"
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we do. So we ferment the feed, and in large chest freezers because it will keep it warm for fermentation, and it keeps, like during the winter we were still able to ferment, and it's just a nice big tank basically.
Yeah.
And we will take anytime we have milk, skim especially, or whey if his mom makes a lot of cheese for us, or after stuff has been creamed, it goes into the pig fermentation vat, and they love it.
Yeah,
and it adds protein.
And we've tried all of the different things. We don't like the skim. So
No.
even on our rod, we have 3 Jersey cows in milk. We're averaging somewhere between 7 and 9 gallons a day, and we're not selling that much. So we have a lot of milk to deal with, and we like the fat from the milk. So we like the cream. We make ice cream. We make butter. Shelley mentions we make homemade cheese, farmer's cheese. Michaela calls it farm cheese. And that ends up with whey.
Mm-hmm.
But like of all of the things, we make yogurt.
Yeah.
We don't have any, none of it. We like the skim.
No, we want the fat in it, and so if there's a lot of skim, the pigs get it, and that protein for them,
it's better for them anyway.
It's
They
way
don't,
better for
they
them.
don't need all of the fat, and the protein in the skim or the whey.
And I need the fat.
Is really good for them.
I need the butter.
Yeah, you need the butter.
I do.
Kevin and Sarah say black walnut hulls are a natural dewormer. Or Sarah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. That's good, and not that we were thinking of that, but, nature provides,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're out in the forest and they're in their natural habitat, things are provided naturally. And Sarah knows so many things that are out there in nature that we can forage as humans is provided for us that can help heal us and feed us. And yeah, black walnuts is a dewormer.
I would think, Sarah, you can correct me, but I would think that acorns would be pretty much the same way, right? Because of the tannins. I know that like if sheep can eat the oak leaves, and that acts as a natural dewormer for them because of the tannins. And I would guess acorns are probably the same. Anyway,
she'd be the expert on that.
Yeah. So we opened up some woods.
We did.
For the piglets. We made access back there. There was no access. So I'll throw up a pic. This was this evening. There are 17 piglets in that picture.
Yeah, somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So I will zoom for you. I'm going to zoom basically between the 2 trees that you're seeing in the foreground that make sort of a V. If you zoom between those, you see a little piglet pile, and that's 17 piglets, all loving life in the woods.
So go back. Can you see the 2-wire on the other picture?
You can see it they don't see my cursor. You can see it behind the piglets in this picture. I don't think you can see it in this.
Oh yeah, a little bit down there in that corner.
corner.
Make that questions go away.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. There we go.
So you can see the 2 wires of electric wire. That's what keeps them in, and they have about I think it was about 100 feet by 50 feet area. So that's going to do them really well for a little while, and before they have to move because they're still so small.
Yeah, we mentioned that they were trained to hotwire, so we put them in there yesterday, and they're still there.
Yeah,
and they're maybe 100 yards from their moms, and the moms haven't gone looking for them, and they haven't gone looking for their moms. Like, everybody is just quite happy and content, hanging out.
It's working out
living
great.
in the woods. Yeah. I think, like, we will definitely do that from now on. Like, that was money, keeping the piglets in with that wire.
Right. Making them stay in.
Oh,
But it was really low to the ground. I mean, it was right in those little piglets' noses, and they learned that,
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point they probably got out and came back, when we weren't around.
Well, I know there were a couple of times where the wire got buried and it was shorted out.
So they got out.
So
but
they
always
got
come
out.
back.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you just hear, "Reek," and it's like, oh, there's another piglet learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are cute.
Yeah.
They are.
Emmy says, how cute.
They are so
are.
cute.
They are really cute.
They are. They are Nana's favorite animals. And yesterday when we were doing all of the moving and everything, and it's really cool under those trees. It's always cooler down in that area. But Nana loves the pigs, and either Rich or Huck, somebody said we should put a picnic table out here and have lunch with the piglets. I think you did.
Well,
Picnic table, lunch with piglets, and I think Huck said something to the manner of, "Oh, Nana would love that."
or he said Nana would never leave.
No, never leave, because it's really nice down there. It would just have to spray for ticks and chiggers around the picnic table area.
Yeah. So Rebecca is our oldest daughter. She says, we need a picnic table out there for Nana.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
We
exactly. Hi, Becca. Hope you're feeling okay.
And I know Nana's watching on her television and can't make a comment, so we'll just say what we want.
Yeah, but we could just say all the things.
Oh, how fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Cynthia says, golly, I know you came from the Air Force, so how did you learn all about this to make a life commitment? Ah, yes.
That's a really great question.
I mean, I would say, I would start with, we both grew up in South Florida in a very rural environment. So like the idea of being around animals is not foreign to us. We both had animals all throughout our life.
Yeah.
So that part of it, like I don't want to say that we were never around animals.
No, we came from a very agricultural community.
Yeah.
So that was our start. The 25 years in the Air Force, we would grow a garden. We would have chickens also. Food. Honestly, food became very important. In 2020, when all that went down, we were in DC, and we saw the shelves be empty, and we saw the struggle that people were having with finding food, and the jeopardy we were all in with our food supply, with the food chain. And so the supply chain. And that really just woke us up, honestly, to the vulnerability that we have in with food security. And so when it came
that was like the fire.
That was the fire.
The fire in the gut,
Yeah.
in our guts was we want food security.
And we want good food. And we generally feel in our lives like, wow, we can do whatever we put our minds to doing. And so we just said, we could just grow this ourselves. It's getting time to retire. Maybe we could just go somewhere, buy some land. He always wanted 100 acres. Maybe we could buy 100 acres, and we could just grow our own, provide for our own selves.
Yeah.
And then it turned into realizing the food system. Well, it's really bad. Well, maybe we could add some good food to it. And we just started learning and following some of the people we talked about earlier, like Joel Salatin and Gabe Brown and Greg Judy, and people growing food in a way that is not chemical based and is doing good things for the land and their communities. Will Harris down at White Oak Pastures, that model just really spoke to us.
Well, and we read a lot.
A lot of reading.
I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
On written by many of these same
YouTube.
guys. We watched a lot of YouTube. YouTube, there's a lot to learn, and you have to be careful because it doesn't always, things that are presented on YouTube as must do's or always works, that doesn't always happen. So, we've learned some lessons there, but
it is a fantastic resource.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin and
Oh,
Sarah
yeah. Good grief.
from Living Traditions Homestead have provided 1,152, I believe, videos that are in a library for people to learn how to grow their own food, preserve their own food, and take care of themselves. And so over time, we watched their videos when we were in DC, and there's a wealth of information on YouTube, and we got a lot of hours from there on how to do this.
And then we just jump in.
Yeah, we do.
And learn it.
Yeah, we just start doing things just go.
We gather the information and say, okay, this is how we're going to do it, and then that's what we do. And we make some mistakes, and then we learn, and we do it different next time.
Yeah,
and like that, I think that's a big thing, is just doing it.
Yeah. Well, because you can analysis or paralysis through analysis, right? You can analyze and you can study and you can study and you can study, but until you get out there and have to take care of that animal, or get out there and plant that garden, or really start literally getting your hands dirty, growing food, you don't know, because you have to learn through the experience of the animal recovering, or the animal, eating the wrong thing, or whatever the thing is. And just the sheer experience is, honestly, that's the true education.
Yeah.
Right.
What angle do the lambs hold their ears?
Right. If the lamb is holding their tail up, why are they doing that?
If their ears are like this or like this, you can tell, like
how they're feeling. If their ears are down,
and it's
they're
just
not feeling.
I think that's just
Animal husbandry. You just learn through doing.
Emmy Livingston says a picnic table.
Picnic table. Okay, that's
sold.
Cute. Sold. Okay, it's done.
We're gonna have to have a picnic table now.
Well, the table that's sitting out there, just right in the sun, nobody's really sitting on it. Down it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Sarah says. So Sarah says, I'm not finding that acorns are specifically a dewormer, but they are high in tannins, which deter worms. So I'd say yes.
I'd say yes.
So just
essentially,
the logic was there.
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
Time change got me. No worries. Angel's Homestead says, I made homemade deviled ham with the pork roast I got from you guys. It was amazing. Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really cool that somebody that is able to taste the pork that we've made. Mm-hmm. That's neat.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah. Cynthia says, did you do your vegetable garden this year? We did. Yeah, we did a video, first garden tour or something like that, 2025. If you go look at our videos, it's probably, 2 or 3 above where this one will end up on our.
I think it's something like Nana to the rescue. She's really she's spearheading the garden. She's garden queen this year.
Yeah, Nana to the rescue, I think, was on the thumbnail.
On the thumbnail. Yeah.
So we did. Yes.
She did. They did.
Homestead Jude is $5.25 a pound plus butcher cost, a good price for a quarter steer. Yes.
Plus. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes. That is a good price.
Yes.
For a quarter steer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say that's really good.
Yeah, and that's less than what we charge for our grass fed, and I don't know the details about the steer that you're looking at, but
and it would matter also, is that hanging weight or freezer weight?
It should be hanging weight.
Well, but that would matter also.
Freezer weight, it would be an amazing deal.
Yeah, seriously.
Hanging weight, it's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a good buy to me.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you guys for what you do, providing food for us all. It's an honorable profession. Thank you. We feel like it is.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, that's another thing. As retirees, we knew we didn't want to kind of be bored, and Lord knows we're not bored. But we want we're purpose driven. We like to wake up in the morning and have something to do. We like to have purpose and growing food for ourselves and most especially for other people. And then to get over the past year and a half, 2 years, to get into the education space of talking about food, giving us that purpose. It does our heart good.
So Homestead Jude says, what do you do for fly control? It's my husband's number one hesitation with getting ruminants. I want a dairy cow so badly. Please help.
It's fly season.
It's fly season, and we don't use chemicals on the cows to control the flies.
No.
The dairy cows specifically, when they come in for milking, we use a product called Fly Swatter, and it is a mixture of, I can't remember if it was 13 or 15 different oils, and
all natural.
It's all natural, no chemical. It's like tea tree oil and like different oils. I think peppermint oil, and it is not cheap, but it works.
It does work. It works at repelling the flies during milking and a little while after, but it isn't a chemical, so it doesn't kill the flies really, and it doesn't get into the cow.
Yeah, and Rebecca says it smells really good. It does. It's just the mixture of oils, and it actually makes their fur sticky from what the research I did, and the flies don't like it. They don't like the sticky on their feet. Mm-hmm. And Susie Q says peppermint oil is a good fly deterrent, right? So it's got this mixture of oils. They don't really like the smell. They don't like the fact that it's sticky on their feet, and they leave. And so during the time when we're milking, we really don't have the flies on the cows.
The number one thing to do that we have found as far as fly control is cleanliness. Keeping the moisture down, keeping the poop down, keeping it cleaned out of the dairy area, making sure that the floors are, although we have dirt floor and we use straw, keeping it mucked out. If it gets too yucky, like on the stall side or something, and it's time to be mucked, that will carry flies. So the cleanliness, keeping things really clean is the number one. Don't give them anything to eat.
Yeah.
Don't try not to give them anything to drink, kind of thing.
On the beef herd, they are dealing with flies right now. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, if it's a big concern for you, I would say one of the things, and you can watch Greg Judy and listen to the things that he has to say about it, but a good quality genetics of a cow that slicks off quickly in the spring and gets an oily coat. That same oil that we were just talking about, the cows that have oily coats, the flies don't get on them as much. And you can tell that in our herd. There are some of the cows that are staying a little shaggy, they haven't
shedded their winter coat on their back all the way.
They have way more flies than the cows that have slicked off completely.
Yeah, once they get shiny, the flies don't bother them nearly as bad. We have woods, and rarely are they in a pasture that it's just like open grass. We have woods, we have some cedar trees, areas that they will go, and they have ways of dealing with it. They'll go and stand all in a circle and do their fly swatting thing during the times when they're not grazing. But they'll get under the cedar trees, and they'll walk under there, and that will also help get the flies off of them.
And the sheep are pretty much the same way. The ones that have slicked off really nice and lost their wool. We have Katahdins, which are a hair sheep. They lose their wool by themselves. The ones that have slicked off nice have way less flies.
Yep. So
I think if you don't want to use chemicals on your animals, looking for good genetics. And one of the things that you could ask, if you're looking for animals, is how quickly do they lose their winter coat, and do you notice them? I guess terminology would be slicking off. Are they shiny?
Right.
Things that you could ask about.
And highly recommend a dairy cow.
Yeah, we love
We
dairy
love
cows.
them. Yeah.
So Emmy says, would having chickens out with the cows help?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
And we continue to talk about how we're going to get the chickens out with the cows.
To get them following them. But it's so hard because our cows sometimes are on hills, and to have a chicken trailer house thing, mobile thing out there on the hills and trying to, do wheel chucks and it's so complicated. So
the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Absolutely,
yes.
It would help.
If I was in South Florida
where
and
it was totally
flat, those chickens would be out there following those cows.
Yeah, if you talk with folks like Joel Salatin, the answer is 3 days. The chickens should follow the cows by about 3 days. The eggs will have hatched. They will have turned into maggots or larvae,
Sure.
And then the chickens will scratch through the pats and eat the babies.
And another thing that helps is rotating them. Get them out of the pasture that they're in. They go to a clean pasture. The flies are not there. Some of them go with them, but the pressure goes down because you're rotating them, putting them into a clean space, and that really helps too.
And right now we've got them on, it's a 28 to 30 day rotation. So when they leave an area, it's going to be like a month before they come back. And that gives the pats time to do what they do. And the flies, if they're there, they hatch and they leave. So,
yeah, good. Well, hey, this was fun. Our hour is over.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I know, right? It's over.
This was fun.
I mean, over an hour. Anyway,
Yeah.
Hey, thanks guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for your questions and your participation. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was cool.
Yeah. Next week, you hinted on it. Next week, we want to talk about is some silvopasture.
Yeah.
That
And our plans.
our plans.
What we're doing.
Yeah. We'll take some extra pictures and show you guys what we're planning on doing with some of that area. We have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be looking for the podcasts on the Duster Mud podcast channel.
Yeah.
We're excited about this.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, we just put one out yesterday that we talked to an author of a book called Save Our Soils, and very knowledgeable young man from Belgium. And it was a really great conversation. It was a hoot to talk to him. He's very, very passionate about regenerative organic food. And he believes that we can actually grow food that way for the entire population of the world. And
feed the world three times over, he says.
3 times over,
Yeah.
if we would change some of our agricultural practices. So
It was a
go
great
check that out.
conversation.
Yeah, it was a really fun conversation. So anyway, hey, have a nice evening. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks for stopping by. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.